what point is the way Gen Z handling sort of the dissatisfaction with the public a better way of managing politics vis-a-vis the boomers who are silent and angry and protested with silence?
I didn't think I would see what I saw with what is referred to as a Gen Z uprising. It is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. They act as they think. It is one of the most refreshing, it's one of the most spontaneous, it's one of the most dangerous things I've ever seen a group of people do. And yet, if you look at how change has come to society, it's followed that same path. If not by groups, but individuals.
You cannot negotiate with your oppressor, or at least you cannot let your oppressor define the very rules by which you are to fight for your liberation. Liberation itself is a violent act. That is not to say that it is engulfed by violence itself, but for true liberation to be found, there is some need or some level of violence that will be required. Because in the eyes of the oppressor, you will never do right if you are not choosing to be the oppressed.
How we were murdered and how we were abducted and how they downplayed the abductions up until now when the IG of police has announced it showcases just how important it was for us to actually get out of our houses in the first place. I have been dissatisfied with the fact that we have to remind people what they took a Bible and swore an oath to the people to do. That for me to have to sit down and walk in the streets to remind you that you are obligated to do to Kenyans what you took an oath to is what is disturbing for us. That we have to remind you of your actual job that has a job description in the Constitution that you can access to in case you forget that what your job is. The fact that I have to live my day-to-day life in fear, in constant dissatisfaction. I have to have so many other stepping stones to be able to get success that every other youth is having in every other part of the country is exactly why we have a problem. These spikes and hikes have demonstrated in a lot of, again, authoritarian and totalitarian authorities and systems that governments such as this end up collapsing economies. And when an economy collapses, I kid you not, we have seen it in Palestine, we have seen it in Afghan, we've seen it in Sudan and Congo. The youth, the women and the children bear the bait, unfortunately. And when you suppress the most vulnerable in the society, just because you cannot do your job right, then we are obligated to stand and protest until